Well, well, well. I saw this in my feed and I read the title and I thought to myself, you know what? I've been waiting for a video like this. Why do people hate Asmongold? Is it because he's bald? Is it because he's 6'8" and black? Regardless of why people hate him, he's a pretty polarizing figure on the internet. I think a big thing is just that, like, people on the internet, they're so caught up in having the right opinion. They gotta get that clout, they gotta suck from the nipple of people pumping their tires, No, hey, I won't lie. Everyone likes when another person cups their balls and say, those are some nice nuts. And, it makes everyone feel good. But sometimes we have people like Asmongold that just walk out with the cock out and say, yeah, this is my dick. I'll swing it. Yeah, hey, sometimes you'll get your pee-pee whacked. I've had my pee-pee whacked plenty of times from saying wild shit. But you know what? I think a lot of people resonate with that. Some people just like it when a guy whips his dick out and says what he wants to say. But without further ado, this guy, I saw this has a pretty decent size of views, I think like about 70,000. So I thought, hell, give it a try. Let's go.
I find it quite strange how a lot of people on the internet just jump to conclusions without any hint of evidence.
Nah, it's cap, dude.
Critical thinking seems almost endangered among the chronically online. A lot of people just follow trends of hatred without actually taking the time to find evidence.
Well, you have to understand, like, what works for the internet? To give an in-depth answer that's, more than 5 sentences, or just a quick, like, buzzword by the book that's easy to digest, easy to click like, and be like, yeah. This guy knows what he's talking about. Yeah, he's what do you call it? An echo chamber, It validates your opinion and it makes you feel like you're in like the majority. And I think that's what really sells
to back up
easily.
Their accusations. Just because a lot of people are saying something doesn't make it true. We've seen this happen with a lot of public figures, especially in recent years. A good example would be J.K. Rowling. I'm convinced the majority of people who hate her do so simply because others do, because it's become a popular trend. I remember watching a video.
I remember when Hogwarts Legacy came out. Holy shit, the amount of fuckers trying to deplatform anyone that was playing that game just because of like what supposedly J.K. Rowling said. And mind you, I don't even think I've ever seen like a tweet from her that's been like, where you can be like, oh yeah, total cunt. To be honest, I think she said some shit about some trannies, but come on, listen, I can't say anything, but you and I know a chick with a dick doesn't exist. Only guys with tits, but hey, maybe I'm a byproduct of a bygone era. Totally fine. But yeah, that shit was fucking wild.
Video on critical thinking by a teacher, Warren Smith. In this video, Warren challenges a student of his to actually think for themselves on this exact topic. All he did was encourage his students to broaden his perspective and look into the situation himself, using rationality and critical thinking.
So let's get specific though.
It doesn't exist nowadays, boys.
We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
So when you say bigoted,
sounds pretty
you're
authoritarian.
that given her bigoted opinions,
Someone needs some re-education camp.
does she have bigoted opinions?
Fucking hell.
She has.
So I guess now that we're looking at it like, oh, there's not much difference between me or her. Do you think it's fair that she's being attacked by a large group of people and people are calling her, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that J.K. Rowling is transphobic, how do you feel about Harry Potter? Now,
Represent!
that statement, do you think that was the best way to phrase it?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
Warren Smith then apparently
You know what? That's a big thing too. People, it's okay to have an idiot moment, but when you're on the internet, it's so looked down upon, which I get. No one likes getting dunked on in the comments. No one likes to get dunked on by one person, let alone thousands of people online. So it makes sense why people are so afraid of getting dunked on or being wrong. But you gotta understand, like, shit's gonna happen, As long as you admit it, or like, you don't, I don't know, it's fucking hard. The peer pressure is a fucking bitch. But it makes sense that people they just don't want to be wrong. They want to be right. They want to feel good. They want that instant gratification. It's fucking tough on the internet. I can imagine that shit. That shit's crazy.
From his teaching job for encouraging critical thinking.
So it happened yesterday. I was fired from my full-time teaching position
This decline
Holy
in
shit,
critical
dude.
thinking is one of the many reasons I believe a lot of people dislike Asmongold. In certain online spaces, especially among specific communities, there's a
The
lot of
Reddit!
hate
Yeah,
towards him that
buddy!
is
Thinking that
unwarranted
doesn't
and
exist here,
simply
boys. Get the fuck
lies.
out of here with that
The more I
shit.
looked into this, the weirder this echo chamber became.
Asmongold is just like someone
toxic
who
as
makes a
fuck.
living off stealing from other people.
He's like, you're a
Yeah!
racist.
Pirates,
Asmongold
baby!
is a fascist. He's just like actually one of the,
The
purest
horse guy,
examples
yes!
of the
Yes!
moderate wing of fascism thing. Also, Asmongold's editor is a Nazi.
Yeah! What the fuck?
This is the fake laugh he does, and I don't respect it.
Dude, nothing nothing brings me more joy in life. As someone from the South, I think, you know, obvious with the way I act. But his editor is a Nazi. If you went to his house, his you know, you go to a normal person's house, they have pictures of Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, MLK, you know, Corey in the house. Nuh-uh. You go to Asmongold's house, his editor's house, it's Hitler. It's the same shit, and it's been going on for years, and it's so funny to see it. And it's like, it's on repeat, you know, the greatest highlights of people saying the same shit. And I'm such a shit eater, I just eat it up so often. It's awesome. I find it so funny.
Respect him at all.
It looks a
I don't know,
clown.
Maybe his audience is like 12-year-old boys. Maybe they
Yeah!
and think it's funny.
Never go past 12. 12 mindset forever. Ooh, why people hate Asmongold? Papa. Roach Army, stand up. Stand on God, stand on business.
In my
On site.
research for this video, I genuinely tried to find actual substantial reasons for the hate outside of the lies.
Okay.
I'm an advocate of trying to see both sides' perspectives on any topic, so I found quite a few videos on YouTube that I'd like to unpack and try to understand why there is so much hate against Asmongold. First
He's
off,
white.
from what I've seen,
He's bald.
a lot of the hate against Asmongold seems to have stemmed from other YouTubers' disdain for React content. In my research, I stumbled across a video titled "Asmongold is Bad: Why I Don't Like Asmongold Videos" by a channel called Savior 3.0. In this video,
Yeah.
we hear the usual rant about React content having a negative impact on other channels and YouTube as a platform.
I get that.
He gets the benefit from all of this unpaid labor. He gets the benefit from all of this hard work from other content creators, but he doesn't actually have to do any of the heavy lifting.
This YouTuber then played an excerpt from a large and actually pretty popular channel called Dark Viper AU, where he spoke in depth about why React content is bad for channels and the platform as a whole, using
This is what I will say about React content. Back when iDubbbz was, before he got cucked by his weird tranny tomboy wife, it was more like the wild, wild west back in YouTube. React content was dicked on. All like, I remember Jinx, if you guys from the OGs back in the day, you know, people got a lot of shit for it. And I think it's because there was this innate feeling of wanting to maintain that authentic, like, content creation style that was there early on in YouTube's like life cycle. And I think we're at a point where every streamer does it. Every single person does it. And very few like content creators will not do React content, but at the same time, look at stuff like guys like Mr. Beast. They don't really do React content too much, but it's so kind of like artificial and corporatized anyway. It doesn't even feel like it's authentic content to begin with, which is fine. Everyone has their own opinion. I think at this point, like, I like the way Asmongold and some other streamers or other like content creators have kind of taken upon like the reaction content where like, if people are taking your stuff, they're like, you know, making little clips or highlights, don't be a dick and like shut them down. Obviously you want to, that's your opinion, but from my perspective, it's like free publicity. You keep it pushing. If you really like have a knack for content creation, you really have a passion for creating content, you're going to find success regardless of like, oh, some guy reacted to you, but he got more views than you. Ultimately, it's free publicity, you know? And I think if you get too hung up on, you know, copywriting everything or putting your name everywhere, you kind of create this like, this small pee-pee vibe that erates from you, you know, that it exerts from you. And I feel like, you know, that kind of pushes people away from your personality in your channel rather than bringing people in. But that's kind of where I'm at in reaction content. This is my first reaction video, so I mean, I'm selling out. Woo!
using Asmongold as the primary example.
Over the last few months, I've learned that very few people
It's
seem
easy
to
too.
understand
I hear it's
why
really
React
easy.
content is harmful. React content is a system of exploitation that siphons an incalculable amount of money and exposure away from the hardworking into the pockets
It
of the
doesn't.
incredibly lazy.
Dark Viper had some decent points and clearly did a lot of research.
I might have to
into
react
this,
to that.
but
It seems
somehow,
interesting, though.
In this whole video, he missed what I believe is the most important aspect of React content. I'll actually read a comment that I found while watching this video because I think it best describes the problem with this argument. I don't agree with the idea that reaction content is stealing. When watching someone like Asmongold, it's not about the original video content itself, but rather about his personal take and commentary. People watch him because they want to hear his thoughts, see his reactions, and experience his unique perspective. His popularity is built on his personality and how he engages with the content, not just the content itself. Even if he simply talked about the videos without showing them, his audience will still tune in because they're following him and his reactions, not just the video being reacted to. Reaction content requires charisma, personal insight, and the ability to entertain, which is what draws viewers in. This is nearly a perfect
He's
comment
right.
in the context
It's like
of
talking. It's like
Asmongold.
watching a
But the
video with a
only thing that is
friend. It's like
disputable
twice
is
as
that not
fun, you know?
all React content is actually done in good faith. Some of it is blatant
That is
stealing.
true, yeah.
Reactman has a fantastic video titled The Dark Side of React Content that I completely recommend on this subject. In fact, in his video,
I'm gonna
he
watch
even
that too. I haven't
mentions
seen
how
Ackman
Asmongold
forever.
reacting to one of his videos, yes, affected its viewership negatively, but how he spoke to Asmongold and Asmon agreed to watch his videos a few days after release in the future.
What I realized is that if you're a big creator who's going to react to someone's video, you should wait at least 4 days for it to be pushed in the algorithm naturally. And that's what Asmon and I talked about and agreed on after this
Interesting.
happened.
Okay.
The Ackman then went on to talk about
So it's kind of like giving a video kind of like the chance to like blow up and breathe a little bit, which makes sense. I can get that because again, I'm still very new to YouTube and the algorithm to me makes no fucking sense, dude. So it makes sense to give that video a little bit of breather. I know this one, I gave this video, let's see here, about a week, which I think that's what I'll kind of do. Just like I said, give that video to, you know, a little bit of chance to breathe. Although, who the fuck's gonna watch this video, you know? Like, come on. You know, my video in the algorithm? Fuck that. Hell no. YouTube fucking hell no. No. But I get it from like a big YouTube content like perspective, and it makes sense too. And that's cool.
about the
I'm glad
positive
he
impact
spoke about that.
reactors like Asmongold have had on his channel.
Some might say, but Act-Man, he's stealing views from you. Those views belong to you.
That
Maybe they
fucking
do.
thief.
I can't say for certain, but what I can say is
I
a lot
doubt
of
him.
people who
I mean,
aren't
a little
subscribed
bit.
to my channel wouldn't be subscribed if Asmongold never made these videos.
That's see,
Although I
free
agree with aspects
publicity.
of Dark Viper AU's video, there's something he says here at 15 minutes and 5 seconds that I completely disagree with.
I hope by the end of this video that you will come to understand why this exposure and money would either entirely or almost entirely have gone to other content creators if not for Asmongold's interference. Not just the people that Asmongold steals labor from,
People
but
who-
everyone in the
Dog, I wouldn't even know about your channel if it wasn't for Asmongold and it wasn't for this guy creating this channel or doing this video about you. Again, it's free publicity. I think people are getting a little too money hungry and are not able to see the big picture. If you make good content, you're going to find success. And if people are going to react to it, it's free publicity. Obviously, I think there's a little bit of like gray area that you could be, you know, you can talk about, you know, have discussions with, you can debate. Like I said, with the Ackman and the Asmongold thing, having Asmongold wait a few days for that video for Ackman to breathe a little bit makes sense, you know, but to have no one react to your content on the simple fact that you're a big channel and you have a lot of people and not seeing the upside of free publicity. And mind you, Asmongold is although a variety streamer, he kind of caters a little bit towards more the gamer. And so as someone like me, who's generally more of a gamer myself, I wouldn't be into the whole political shit or about these different topics or this YouTube drama unless I saw an Asmongold reaction video about it. I think he's a little short-sighted in this. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong.
in the wider market.
You could easily say the same thing about every single channel on YouTube, including Dark Viper
Exactly.
AU. Dark Viper has
Same.
1.5 billion views
Fuck.
that could have otherwise gone somewhere else if he didn't have his channel.
Bottom line,
It's true.
a React video has the same value proposition as going to a movie with a friend. Seeing and discussing a movie with a friend
Yeah.
can be more enjoyable than seeing it alone.
It is.
But you would never say that the friend who took you to the movie should get a cut of the movie's proceeds for sitting in the chair and giving you his opinion on it.
This, for me, is a gross oversimplification of what is really happening. I would say that React content is more likened to movie commentary. People choose to watch
Yes.
Asmongold or other React creators simply because they are entertaining.
That's like saying, If I'm in school, I'm like, yeah, my best friend, he lets me eat all the cool and tasty, Crayola crayons. Crayola should give him a cut. No, it's more like a guy, giving free advertisement for a certain Crayola can, a new type of crayon that I end up buying and using, or it piques my interest in, and then he gets a cut of it because he's advertising it. It seems more akin to that than what this other guy was saying.
Dark Viper AU's video, while incredibly well made, also lacks a very basic
I'm sure
understanding.
it was.
People
Looks well
prefer
made.
to watch react content over original videos. Behind every single
It's true.
view is a real person living their real life by choosing how they spend their time. The argument that Asmongold interferes with other people's ability to make money is a massive over-exaggeration.
I'm busy at home gooning
People who
to have
watch
friends.
Asmongold as this collective hive mind that doesn't really think for itself. I would consider myself an Asmongold enjoyer, and I
The
have
Roach
absolutely
Army,
nothing to
baby.
do with
Woo!
anyone else who watches Asmongold's
Roach
videos.
Army.
I just choose what I want to do with my time as a casual guy going about my life.
What you do not see is every time any reaction video appears where your video would have otherwise appeared. Any time where one
That's
of your
bullshit,
videos would have got
nah.
an impression, except it then went to a reaction video. You also do not see every time a reaction video is chosen by a viewer instead of one of your videos.
Now, I am not saying what Dark Viper is arguing is entirely untrue. There are people
Yeah.
who would have watched some of
There's
these
definitely some
videos
truth to
without
that,
first
yeah.
having seen them through Asmongold. But there's absolutely no way of knowing this, especially to what extent. If it were as simple as Dark Viper AU puts it, then I don't think React channels are the real issue anyway. Consumers choose how they want to spend their time, and that's ultimately what drives
And that
viewership.
dictates the market,
Dark Viper tried to
Simple as
dispute
that.
this argument in his video by explaining that just because there is a market for it doesn't mean it's a good thing. In my opinion, this argument is possibly the most important on the subject, but Dark actually didn't give a strong enough point to argue against the market deciding on this.
But shouldn't the market decide? No! There is a market for every terrible thing you can imagine. The existence of demand for something does not justify meeting that demand through exploitative means.
The primary message behind Dark Viper's video is that React content is objectively bad or objectively immoral, without...
If it's objectively bad and objectively not moral, then your issue shouldn't be with Asmongold. Fuck, sorry about that, boys. It shouldn't be with Asmongold. It should be with YouTube. Like when I play a game, whether it's an MMO, a multiplayer game, whatever, if there's some shit that's broken that needs to be patched, it's up to the company to patch it up. And if not, I'm gonna fucking gangbang that exploit, because that's how, don't call me, a dickhead for just playing the game the way it best optimizes my time. If you really think it's that bad and needs to be addressed, take it with the higher ups to stop that. But it's just too much money. Too many people like to do it. Too many people like to watch people watch videos and give their honest to God opinion. They like the bias to be validated. Makes total sense. I do the same thing. I try not to, but come on, Like I said, we all like to have our balls cupped a little bit and have someone else say, nice,
without giving any hint of acknowledging its nuances. I believe it's important to conclude that React content as a concept has subjectively and objectively good or bad sides depending on the content.
Like everything in life does.
We, the consumers, are in charge. We dictate who profits by where we spend our money or our time. Yes, it's never good as consumers to support something that is explicitly illegal or immoral, but this is why I am challenging this idea that React content is just outright bad. I think what Dark Viper AU is saying is ultimately in good faith, and there is a lot of truth in this video. I recommend watching this video as it does have a lot of good
check it
points
out.
depending on context. Yes, there are
Professional
a lot of bad actors out there
parasites.
that actually do
That's a
just steal
great title.
content without even
Fuck, that's an
giving them
awesome
credit.
title.
This does exist, and I am all for breaking this culture where possible. But I disagree with the argument that all of it is just plain destructive. I had the privilege of having Asmongold react to the very first video I made, the current state of AAA gaming.
I remember
about
watching that.
4 or
That was
5
really
months
cool.
ago. Because of this, and Asmongold
Really
following
well
up
made
by
too.
watching 4 more of my videos, my channel exploded.
Blue.
I even memed him about this.
Pretty, isn't it? Perfectly balanced. This whole
It's great. It's a fucking classy meme.
Subscribers aren't really the driving force behind YouTube's success anymore. The algorithm now prioritizes videos with strong watch time relative to their length. Every time Asmongold has watched one of my videos, thousands of people have popped in to leave a like, comment, or even subscribe, which is awesome, don't get me wrong. But then naturally, they click off and go about their day as they should.
Like
it only takes
any
a few
normal
seconds for them
person
to do this,
would.
But in the background, YouTube is tracking how long people are actually watching the video as they visit my channel. When thousands of viewers only stick around for under 10 seconds, YouTube's algorithm starts flagging the video as not
They're like,
worth
this
recommending.
video is fucking
At the end
shit.
Of the day, YouTube only
Like all
cares
my
about one
videos.
thing, advertising.
This all my videos, it's like 5 seconds. Like, God, this guy fucking sucks. Throw him with the rest. Throw him with the rest. It makes sense. See, and that makes sense why a lot of big like YouTubers, I mean, like White Boy 7th Street, huge back in the day. I'm still subbed to him. I look on his channel every now and again. 7K, 10K, 3K per video. Again, much better than what I'll ever see on my channel. But nevertheless, like, he has four some odd million of subscribers, yet the algorithm does not push his videos like they did back in the past. So it makes sense why it's been prioritizing those like strong watch times over anything else, regardless of like sub count.
Revenue, which comes from watch time. So yes, this is a negative, but in the long run, React content can still be incredibly beneficial. While the initial burst of traffic from a big creator's reaction may not convert into consistent viewership right away, it does something equally important. It
Lays
puts
the
your content
foundation
in front of a massive audience
Yep.
that would have otherwise never
seen it.
discovered you. Even if a
Yep.
large percentage of these viewers don't stick around, a small fraction will. Those
All you
who
need is a little
genuinely
bit.
enjoy your content beyond the reaction will come back and watch more of your videos and engage with your channel over time. These are the people who become part of your core audience, the ones who comment regularly, watch your videos, and support your growth. Beyond that, exposure from React content can also boost credibility. When a well-known creator reacts to your
Backs
work,
up your
it signals
opinions,
to their audience
that's
that
just
you're
like
someone worth
to
checking
rely
out.
on.
In
Yep.
my case, having
The
Asmongold
trust.
react to my videos helped give me credibility as a voice in the gaming space.
I'm gonna be honest, like this guy, he's really cooking with this video. I actually think this is probably one of the best dissections of like the philosophy behind why these things happen in games that like I've seen. This is really good.
This kind of recognition can and has opened doors to collaborations, sponsors, and other opportunities that wouldn't have otherwise been possible.
Like I
also
said,
think
free
that a potential
publicity.
fix would be a system where YouTube splits revenue from React channels, creating a more collaborative platform. But this is just wishful thinking. Just a quick side note on this.
YouTube
I've
doesn't give a
recently been
fuck
seeing
that
people
much,
say
unfortunately.
That Asmongold's React videos are just him nodding or agreeing or raising his eyebrows the whole time.
Asmongold gets involved. That's
Oh
right.
God, this
the guy that
retard.
will play a YouTube video in its entirety, occasionally raises eyebrows and says the word sure a lot. Like
People that say this have never seen an Asmongold video. They haven't. I watch Asmongold more than I interact with my mother. Okay, put that in perspective. Okay, again, certified Roach Army privateer. Okay, I'm in this bitch. Regardless, you watch any reaction, he goes into his thoughts. He interacts with chat. He'll bring guys from his chat and check them on their opinion if they call him out. Name one other reactor that does that consistently. You know, a lot of them just probably similar to me, like you know, dick suckers like me who go, "Whoa, what? That's crazy! Oh my god!" Anyway, sub and leave a like. Like, fucking, what kind of fucking reaction is that? Asmongold goes way beyond that. I feel like, even if he is wrong, his chat dunks on him and he takes it on the chin, fucking admits it. He doesn't have a huge ego where he's like, "No, I'm right. Ban everyone in chat who doesn't believe that I'm right." Again, it's just what this guy was saying in the beginning, where no one likes to vet anything. No one wants to go and actually look at the information to see what's the biggest popular opinion. They state it. They get the easy like, the easy sub, the easy like comment saying, "Wow, you're so right. Let me suck your dick."
the person in the video is in the room with him.
Anyone who actually takes a few minutes to look into this would see that this is just not true. Just
Thank
look
you.
at my video side by side, the reactions he made on them. He clearly adds a lot to these conversations.
Yeah.
Now, beyond the React content argument, going back to Savior 3.0's video, he then tries to go deeper into the premise that Asmongold is the most nihilistic person he has ever seen.
He doesn't hold much moral values. He seems to basically flip
What?
between any type of argument which basically benefits him to his audience. He doesn't have any moral consistency, it seems like, from a lot of his advice and a lot
This
of the stuff that
guy
he talks
is
about. It seems
Again, it's like, are we watching the same person? He's been very consistent on what he promotes, what he thinks is right, what he doesn't think is right. He said multiple times on his opinions have changed. I mean, he's a very, again, what it is, I really do believe this. It's Asmongold stems from a personality that's very common in America. Definitely in that blue collar jobs, you know, where guys will just say stuff, they'll grab their nuts, say what they want to say. And sometimes it could be wrong. Sometimes it could be some wild shit. But they're open to having their mind change and they're going to say what they believe in. And I think a lot of people just don't like that. They want the mainstream ideas, they want to validate their biases, and that's it. And they want to demonize and shit on anyone who has a different opinion.
It seems Asmongold views values as baseless, and he doesn't hold religion or morality with much regard. He might sometimes communicate the usefulness in the individual and society and benefiting society and all that stuff, but it seems like most of his arguments seem to flip-flop because he is literally living in a tiny little echo chamber of basically a Redditor, addicted gamer who somehow got famous.
This guy's never been on Reddit a day of his life.
In his video that he is...
If he took 5 minutes on Reddit, you would know it's the most left-leaning shit ever. And I'm not saying if you're like a regular even if you're a regular Democrat, you would hate fucking Reddit, dude. This guy has no idea what Reddit's really about, dude. Fucking hell.
Watched an Asmongold video because he even states
Facts.
that Asmongold preaches his lifestyle to his massive audience, which clearly
He doesn't.
couldn't be further from the truth.
The problem with that
He treats
is
his body
if
like
he
a
doesn't
zoo,
have
he
any
says.
educational insights, if he doesn't do any self-development of himself, but he's preaching educational ideas to the masses, this is very destructive and it reinforces, you know, nihilistic tendencies.
Asmongold's
to
basically
his
Hitler,
audience.
basically.
And a lot of these people are rather
Asmongold?
down bad,
I
would
thought you
say.
said Adolf.
These are people without integrity
Ooh, those are really
and
good.
morality. And he's
This thing's fucking
reinforcing these ideas to
slay.
them because he doesn't have any education himself.
Now, to properly dissect what he is saying, yes, Asmongold has definitely shared some nihilistic takes in the past, but I wouldn't say he has fully embraced nihilism in its traditional sense. For those who aren't aware, nihilism is defined as the rejection of all religious and moral principles, in the belief that life is meaningless. Yes, Asmongold has shared his take on how he believes life is meaningless in the grand scheme of things.
I place like pretty much no
Yeah,
value in like
I've heard that
principles of
before from
morality.
him.
I think that these are top-down ideas that are given to you by the elites. And I think that if you look at most people that are in like an advantageous position, those people don't follow any of those morals or ideals at all.
But at the same time, he also seems to...
Again, that clip sounds like he comes from more of a hypocritical, like, distaste from it. And again, let's say he was being nihilist, which you could totally say that, right? To be honest, like, if I'm playing a game, I've been in moods, and when he streams as much as he does, have we all been in moods where, like, man, life is fucking pointless? The elites up top preach down to us, and ultimately they don't give a fuck and they don't even follow it. That's some bullshit, you know? Like, I've had fed up moods like that, and I've spoken some wild shit. But then again, like, the next day or whatnot, my opinion will fucking change because I feel better about myself. Or maybe having a down day or whatever. Shit happens, you know? But I think generally through his actions, I don't get that vibe personally. Let's see what he has to say.
Seems to balance that with a more pragmatic or even absurdist outlook, arguing that if life has no built-in meaning, we can still create our own.
Because it's not like an aimless life. I do what I want to do. So you have goals. I do have some goals. Yeah, I have things that I want to do, right?
But he by no means has ever
clean his room, which he did do.
preached
He
at
has
his
done in the
audience
past.
to have the same mindset that he has himself. In fact, there's a lot of evidence on YouTube alone pointing to the contrary.
Nobody should watch my stream and say, I want to be like this.
He
this
treats his
animal.
body like a
Listen,
zoo.
I don't think anybody with a successful life should want to be like me.
Yeah.
And I really mean that. I genuinely mean that.
You don't want to live the way that I live. The way that I live is not some sort of enlightened in Buddhist nirvana. It is absolute pure degeneracy.
He's a monk, that's why he's balding.
Tendency that we have as humans to automatically put up a guard against beliefs or worldviews that are either completely unfamiliar to us or contrary to what we ourselves believe. Not everyone is like this, but a lot of us are like this. Nihilism
Well, especially when
is
you're
easy to
broadcasting to the
correlate with
internet. Fuck yeah,
historical
we
or
are.
fictional figures who have had a negative
Was that
impact on
Asmongold?
their
Was that
society.
Adolf?
Some of us might have even experienced personal grief from people with similar worldviews. But this in no way gives ground for automatic hate, nor does it give justification for spreading lies. Now, I do want to ask, please do not go onto Savior's channel to harass him or attack him. He's genuinely trying.
Listen, we all know I give the guy props for, again, whipping his cock out and saying what he wants to say. You know, that takes some fucking balls to say that. Not as much balls as someone like Asmongold, who kind of, you know, talks about more controversial shit, definitely in the other direction. The majority, I guess you could say, on the internet would probably back the guy who's criticizing Asmongold. Nevertheless, if all of 5 of you watch this video, don't send hate. We all know this. I have to say it anyway. Fucking keep it pushing, boys.
A message he deeply believes in, and I would say good for him for doing that. We can simply disagree and move on. As Aristotle once wrote, it is a mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it.
Yeah.
This brings me to my next point on why some people dislike Asmongold. There's a strange tendency, especially among those chronically online, to equate disagreeing with someone to hating them. Asmongold says some pretty crazy unhinged stuff, and he doesn't back down. And we all know people don't like
with his
others are
dick
like
out.
this.
America deserved 9/11, dude.
Oh my god.
I'm saying it.
A good example of this would
I
be
must say, Hassan is the most beautiful pussy I've ever seen in my life. That's fucking wild. And now he's banned. Haha, get wrecked. Lou, sir.
Controversies surround.
By the way, in case you're wondering, I hate Hassan. I'm a certified hater, although I do wish I was as tall as he was. But hey, as Asmongold says, it is what it is.
Surrounding Asmongold's take on AI and art last year.
Artists' opinions don't matter, because what matters is the opinion of the people that are buying the product.
It's genuinely
true. It
that
sucks,
people seem
but yeah,
unable to disagree in a healthy, constructive way. Asmongold doesn't shy away from controversial takes, and some people don't like this. I've gone around
whoa. Fuck AI art. Screw Asmongold, who thinks he has any knowledge on what it is to take, or what it takes to pour our hearts into something for weeks or years on end, literally tear apart your soul and put it back together to tell something to the world. I don't want to be dramatic, but art is hard as shit. It is hard as shit. But you have to understand that, like, ultimately, if I go on Rule 34, I'm sorry, but if I'm looking at something and there's 5 beautiful drawn questionable shit, okay, do I choose that, or do I choose the 5 pages with 30 images apiece with AI, all maybe not as good looking, but fucking damn close, worth of gooner material? Guess what, boys and girls? The consumer in me is gonna be like, shit, let's go, you know? Like, it sucks, it does. But I think as an artist, you have to understand that shit happens, and it's not gonna go away. It's gonna get worse. It's kind of like, you know how it is? It's like similar to YouTube. Back in the early YouTube days, a lot of content creators, a lot of original content, not so corporatized. You're having to look out for like what you say, what you don't say on YouTube. Now it's totally different. And people were upset. They said, you know, this is bullshit. Let's push back on that. Guess what happened? Here we are today. You have to play the game. Fucking blows dick, but it's a dick. We all gotta suck it.
Twitch.
I could have picked a better example or a better analogy, but I couldn't think of one. I gotta think on the mind.
Throughout the last year, and I find it fascinating how most channels are easily seen as mini echo chambers. I don't think many help dispute these claims, but I can also see how those who don't actually watch
that's how it
Asmongold
works.
can point fingers at his channel and say the same thing. But I've actually never seen a content creator who sides against his entire audience live as much as Asmongold does.
Oh yeah, he always does
doesn't
it.
Pander to his
It's so
audience.
much fun though when someone does it like that, you know?
Up at times with some of his takes.
Like, the fact that Halo Infinite didn't launch with an official Battle Royale mode is unforgivable.
But I believe this is actually healthy.
I don't know about that, Asmon. That's a little...
I came across this video titled The Most Disgusting Man of All Time, Asmongold, by a YouTuber named The Angry Asian. I watched it hoping he'd present a solid argument with some real weight to it. Unfortunately, despite the video being 13 minutes and 38 seconds long, he only spent about 1 minute actually accusing Asmongold of anything substantial.
He genuinely has the most racist and misogynistic takes on gaming and just in general that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Is that whenever I see like a game that comes out and it has, you know, this is feudal Japan and like the main character is a black guy and a girl, I immediately there's like no escapism that this can provide, because the entire story is built on the foundation of trying to appeal to a quote modern audience.
And even in this
I get
clip,
that.
Asmongold
Well, it
makes
comes
a
across as
valid
very
point.
pandering, you
If
know?
a game is set in historical feudal Japan, it shouldn't call itself historical while altering history, just so the developers can push a political agenda. This guy literally spent the rest of the whole video ranting about Asmongold's living choices and hygiene.
How do people view Asmongold as a respected streamer and they value his opinions on gaming or just any topic in general when this motherfucker dead ass lives in his landfill that he calls a house? Would you?
It's because he's honest and he says it with his dick out in his hand. Quite simple. He's honest and he engages with his opinions with his chat. People like that shit. People like to engage. People like honesty. Even if it's wrong or if it's dumb, whatever. But when someone engages with what they believe in and says it, and when like the guy just said, when his chat always disagrees with him plenty of times, he sticks by it. He doesn't get bullied by his chat. He'll call people out. He'll bring their little like fucking name up and he'll have a conversation with them. And people like that. People like to engage, you know? And I think a lot of these people don't get that because they're not from that sphere, you know? They're from the, oh, this is the correct opinion, therefore I can just say, that's the correct opinion, good job. So they're not used to kind of disagreeing and understand that when you disagree with someone, you're not hating on them. You know, you don't have to have the same opinion across the board to be friends with someone. If you think that, you're fucking retarded. Everyone knows that. You think everyone knows that, but on the internet, a large portion of people don't, either they know that, or they don't realize that, or they're so used to having it one way, they're not used to experiencing disagreements while also being like friendly, I think, a little bit online. And there's just a little bit of lack of experience with that. And I think it's what causes people like this who are very upset and kind of lash out as like angry as this guy is right here.
Would you give a single shit what a homeless person living under a bridge on a highway has to say to you? More than likely, you wouldn't give a single what he has to say. So why would you care what Asmongold has to say? Because let's be honest here, guys. Those homeless people living under a bridge 1000% are cleaner than this motherfucker. How else do you look at this motherfucker?
Dog, you ain't never been to Seattle. You ain't never been to some crazy, fucking parts in California. Hell, you haven't even been to downtowns. I can't tell you where I live, but in the South, I mean, it's some crazy shit too. I don't know. I think it's just kind of overselling a little bit. I won't speak on it much.
By not just saying, this dude is nasty as...
Substantial hate that comes from a place of genuine critical thinking will always result in
It's not even
real
critical thinking.
evidence
It's just
of why
lashing
there
out
is
in
the
anger.
hate. If we look at history...
It's like saying, oh, Aristotle, you wore a blanket. What the fuck do you know? With your little Shaw and shit. Get a t-shirt on, fat. It's like saying, oh, what do you know about business? You're not wearing a beautiful suit and tie. You're wearing jeans and a t-shirt. How does that have anything to fucking do whether or not you know business? You know? It's almost like you're discrediting him on the basis of what he looks like rather than discrediting him on his actions and what he's saying on a topic of on a matter of topic or whatnot. It's just a slide tactic you see all the time on the internet. It's so
or even
stupid.
Fiction. There are many figures that automatically
Epstein?
draw hate out of us, mostly because of at least one fundamental cause. At least one decision that these figures
have
have
to
made
cook,
that
Jesse.
has brought this hate upon themselves. And it is always a decision that has affected other beings. Saying that you hate Asmongold because you think he is gross when his decisions actually don't negatively impact anyone but himself shows me that there is a problem with you more than there is a problem with Asmon. I would understand wanting to show him maybe compassion or sympathy, but this has no grounds for hate. I would completely understand the hate if he had maybe a wife or a child or a pet that he was directly affecting, but he doesn't. Why is it then that so many people throw hate and shame at Asmongold for this? Now let's look at another reason for the hate against Asmongold.
Well, it's the same thing. Like I said, you're just picking apart like characteristics that throw hate or to roast him, and therefore discredit his opinion, because it's proven on the internet that if you can roast someone really well enough and you can make fun of their appearance enough, it'll just devalue their actual what they've stated for some reason enough that everyone else will kind of say, oh yeah, he is kind of weird looking. Yeah, his opinion is shit. And not even looking to whether or not his opinion was right in the first place. That's all it is. It's just simple internet bullshit that happens all the time. It's happened since I was a kid.
Because I genuinely try to find evidence of this. But within some communities, we see people constantly trying to out Asmongold as a fascist, racist, sexist, and transphobe. Almost every argument on this is either completely baseless or just plain false. The closest thing to actual evidence that I can find to support this accusation of racism is Asmongold's controversy around his suspension on Twitch from October last year. Most people already know what happened, but I want to share my view on it so you
Tell
can
us
understand
again,
from my
brother.
perspective why I believe at the end of the day, Asmongold's reaction to this gained him more respect from his core audience than it lost. First off, Asmongold messed up. He said something that was blatantly prejudice against an entire culture. There is a level of truth from the perspective of extremist religions, but Asmongold didn't say this. Instead, he broad brushstroked his point and called out an entire culture. He messed up, but you know who also believes he really messed up here? Asmongold.
So a couple of days ago, I made some comments about Palestine, some just general, basically opinions that were trivializing the genocide that's happening there. I said something about it that was disgusting. I said that I didn't care about innocent people getting killed by another force, by anything. And I think that that's a horrible, disgusting, mean-spirited thing to say.
During the 2 week
I will say this, and I want to tiptoe on this because, it's involving Palestine. You know how it is. Palestine and the internet goes together like PB and J. So you gotta play ball a little bit here. But it comes from the mindset that many normal Americans that are not totally online have.
Week Twitch suspension as
oh fuck my ass. Hang on, boys. Okay, I'm back. So here's what I would say. It comes from this American mindset that are these people, they're not on the internet terminally. They have a job. They have their own issues. They're not focused on what other people think. Okay, you ready for this? And this is the exact same mindset as what I remember from the clip from a year and a half ago or whatnot, what he said. It kind of echoes the same sentiment, is that people that are normal people that work and not terminally online, they are focused on their livelihood and the people around them and then their community. They don't care what happens millions of miles away in a place that is totally different culturally, people that are very different and just generally very, very have their own issues, right? We can all agree on this. And so your level of caring only extends to the country and then maybe a little bit out. But that little bit out of caring closes in if there's more bullshit going on in the country. So when Asmongold says, I don't care about the people in Palestine, they're this, they're that, fuck them. Sorry, that's a very many men in America that are work their normal jobs like me believe that shit. We just don't give a fuck. We don't. It sucks. We feel empathy for it, but there's more bullshit going on in our lives that we care about. It may seem mean-spirited, especially if, you're used to, when you're on Twitch and you're streaming, it's one section of the whole day. You may have been having a bad day and vented. I've done that shit with my boys. Fucking everyone has done that shit. Nevertheless, I feel like it's blown out of proportion. I may have to see the video again. It's been a long time. Perhaps I'm forgetting something he said where I could have been like, ooh, that's a little spicy. Ooh, But regardless, I get where he was coming from. Wow, people are dying. People die every fucking day. We hear it. And again, maybe it's, maybe it's actually connected to some of the desensitization we're feeling because there's so much flow of information through the internet. It's so easy to see people die every single day that when you hear, oh, someone's getting blown up and there's this war going on over in the Middle East. Really? Middle East is fighting? Shit. You're so used to hearing that. Your care meter has gone from 50 to 30 to 10 to who gives a fuck. So I get it. And I get, I don't mind him doing this and apologizing. If he really feels like he fucks up, that's on him. That is his opinion. It's his prerogative. But I generally don't see it as oh my God, he thinks all people in the Middle East should be killed. But hey, Ask yourself this. If all of Palestine disappeared tomorrow, would you even know? That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you guys really cared about this, you would know immediately. But if you didn't live there, and you're not terminally online, and you just went to your 9-to-5 job or whatever the fuck, shit, I wouldn't fucking know. It'd probably take me 2 weeks till someone noticed it. Someone told me, hey, did you know Palestine disappeared? I would have been like, what? Really? Where was that? Where were they located? The Middle East, right? That's again, there's so many Americans that would say the exact same thing I just said. Most normal people in America think like this, I feel like. Could be wrong, but yeah, whatever, right? What do I know?
During the 2-week Twitch suspension Asmongold faced, I couldn't help but find either one of these two extreme views on the situation all over X. On one side, people were defending Asmongold and saying he was stating facts. And on the other side, we had people calling him racist, fascist, and words I don't even want to repeat here. But one thing that can't be disputed here is the fact that Asmongold actually messed up. He made an awful judgment on what he said, and he faced the consequences. Now, this is where I personally garnered enormous respect for him. Asmongold took responsibility for
he cleaned his room.
He didn't fight against it. In fact, he even showed gratitude for being held to account, because he was able to take a back step and see himself becoming someone that he found detestable.
Oops, sorry boys, hang on.
So crazy about it. I think this has been going on now for like 2 years. I think that I've been slowly devolving into the most mean-spirited, rude, nasty, callous, psychopathic version of myself. And a lot of my friends have told me this. My dad has told me this. He said, you've got to chill out. You've got to calm down.
Funny enough, I've gotten a little bit like that too as I gotten older. Like when I was younger, very empathetic, always cared about like the fellow man. And as I got older, dude, I fucking calloused up. I don't know why. So I get what he's saying, you know, but let's be honest. Have you seen lit of his, you know, his latest streams lately? He's back to his old self. I think a little bit more nuance. He tries to be, but you know, he's still Asmongold. Look at that little hairline. That's gonna be me in 5 years.
Like, oh, that old man doesn't know what he's talking about, and
he's yelling at clouds again.
Some level of accountability for that, and thank God.
His response to the situation really showed his true colors. He took the L and he apologized. I then couldn't believe the reaction from some of his own audience when he apologized. Some of them believed Asmongold
I won't lie.
Unwritten
I don't think he should have apologized, but you know what?
Apologizing under any.
There's one thing about apologizing. You say it once. That's it. Once you apologize, never say it again about that topic. You keep it pushing. Because once you apologize once, those little fuckers on, you know, Twitter, they want you to do it again. They want to drag you through the mud and gangbang you and butt fuck you right into the dirt. Don't let them do that. If you fuck up, just apologize once, keep it pushing. And about a couple weeks, fucking someone else is going to fuck up and you're going to be forgotten forever. But if you keep letting them drag you to the dirt and butt fuck you in the dirt, you're going to lose some people. You're going to lose your core audience and they're going to keep butt fucking you. It doesn't matter how many times you apologize. Either never apologize or apologize once if you really believe you fucked up. That's it. Don't fucking extend it.
Any circumstances, which is
just asking for trouble.
A complete misinterpretation of his actual stance. Asmongold has always stood by the principle of not apologizing in the context of pandering to people for a level of false peace or tolerance. He has always been against apologizing if you don't believe you've done anything wrong.
Yes.
Apologizing is never a weakness if it's genuine.
Only if you feel like you fucked up, personally.
Bettered quite a lot of his audience. People seeing him respond like this challenged them as well.
Now, I will say between me and you in the fence posts, his comment section on this video, when I first saw it, there was a lot of comments, there's a lot of likes. A couple hours later, those comments were not there anymore. Maybe I'm smoking the crack. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, Maybe not enough people
Either way,
actually saw
I don't give a
what really
fuck.
happened here, but it was a genuine sign of good character that I wish I saw in other content creators or influencers. This is one of the reasons I still have a lot of love and respect for PewDiePie to this day. One of my favorite words in the world is the word accountable. Humans are extremely fallible, and we can have some pretty terrible blind spots in our lives. So any content creator that advocates for accountability is a content creator that I believe is worth following. I don't believe this controversy makes Asmongold a racist.
Makes sense.
It actually just reaffirms Asmongold as being a genuine fallible dude who can own his faults and advocate for bettering himself.
Yeah. As long as you only apologize when you really feel like it, that's the only reason. That's the only way you should apologize. If you really feel like you fucked up. Otherwise, don't do
has
it.
This beautiful ability at times to approach controversial subjects in good faith. It's something I've noticed about him over the years, and it's definitely a quality I hope he never loses. He doesn't always do this, but when he does, I find myself personally challenged. This has naturally encouraged his audience, including me, to have a slightly broader perspective when looking into controversial topics where people usually have an established bias. Take, for instance, a post on X last year from Kelly Lombardi, a global games product marketing manager at Xbox.
Meet the global head of marketing for Xbox. Raise your hand if you're not a white man and you buy video games. No hate to white dudes. It's just another day in the gaming industry that minorities have to fight to prove they exist. All right.
Given how polarizing
fucking news to me, I had no idea.
Become in recent years, it would be easy to look at her post and label her as an anti-white liberal elitist and move on. If
it does seem like that a little bit.
To lean into that narrative, it would be Asmongold. But instead, Asmongold challenged his audience.
But when was the post like initially posted too?
He viewed Kelly's post from her perspective.
Am I the person that's going to have the hot take that this isn't really that big of a deal, and I don't
give it to me, Daddy.
This to be inherently racist? The problem is that when you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And I don't think this one's a nail, guys. I don't think that this.
Well, she's not really like racist. It's more like she just kind of believes that people that aren't white are being put down, and so she's like an advocate of like making sure minorities have a voice. Although it doesn't come across generally good when you say, "Oh, I only want people that are not white." Kind of comes across a little, a little sussy. Like, would you imagine if I said, "Hey, I only want opinions about rap from white guys. Black people, take a step back." Okay? Like, it comes across as very odd, I would have probably worded that tweet a little bit better, but again, it's a fucking tweet. Like, as long as she helps make good games, who gives a fuck,
This is advocating for like any sort of exclusion.
Hold on. Sorry, boys. I had to take my dog out. Doggity gadagada yo. I've been a hoe with a fat camel toe. Alrighty. But like I said, I think it could be worded a little bit better, but I don't care what you believe in. Just do your job. I don't care who you want to touch beans with or who you want to touch tips with. Just do your fucking job, dude. That's all I care about.
I don't think it's advocating for degradation. I don't think this one is that big of a deal. Am I crazy? And I get how you could perceive this as being bad. I do. And
yeah.
I totally see that. But like, I try to interpret things in good faith.
Seeing him do this really struck me at the time, and it pushed me to rethink my own assumptions. It even bettered me as a man in how I approach things critically. Because my original approach to this post was anything but graceful. Like I said, Asmongold doesn't always...
Well, you get so used to seeing, like, whenever someone says white guy or white people, and you're so used to seeing that in, like, relation to them shitting on you, your assumptions are already, like, you almost, like, fill in the fucking words of what they're gonna say next. And I think even now, like, when I re-look back at that, I want to say I read it a couple times, thought one thing, and then when Asmongold talked about it, I kind of looked back at it again a little bit more in depth, and I kind of understood what she was trying to convey, but worded it like a fucking retard. Which, hey, I do that shit all the fucking time, so I have no one, I have no fucking high ground to stand on, but nevertheless.
Do this, but he does do this, and it always gets his audience either thinking or actually annoyed. Another great trait that I believe Asmongold has that I personally like is that he stands behind what he believes. Although I sometimes disagree with Asmongold's approach to tackling some of these issues, I really appreciate how he doesn't back down from what he believes in, regardless of how unpopular his opinion is. even live with his audience. Maybe it's pure stubbornness, but I think it's good because it gets his audience thinking. Something
And
for me that
engaging.
shows either really good character or a complete lack of caring is that despite immense wealth and fame, Asmongold doesn't change. I'm not really going to talk about the subject too much because it could just come from a place of genuinely not caring, but I've seen wealth do some pretty terrible things to some pretty awesome people. And I'm glad Asmongold just stayed true to being himself.
Didn't hire a maid for a multi-million-dollar mansion. He stayed humble for real. 100p on a stack.
It is far too easy to demonize
Stand on
someone
business.
by taking what they say out of context or pushing your own bias using their own videos against them. So you could argue that I did the same thing here, but instead of demonizing Asmongold, I did the opposite. I'm not saying that Asmongold is without his faults. I'm just saying it's worth thinking critically about these things for yourself and coming to your own conclusions.
Opinion.
I think one of my goals with my YouTube channel is to try and help pull people out of any type of echo chamber they might be a part
That's
of.
hard, dude.
I
Even
find
for me, I
myself
try to be
easily
unbiased,
slipping
but
into
fuck,
echo
that's so
chambers that
difficult.
support my
It
own
feels so good to
biases,
have like
but I'm
opinion that's
always trying
validated,
to
you know?
broaden my perspective and look at things a little bit more critically. A lot of the hate Asmongold gets, at least the kind people think is genuinely justified, comes down to ideological differences. If you look around X, Reddit, and YouTube, you'll find plenty of posts from people who strongly believe in ideas like DEI, identity politics, or even critical race theory, going after Asmongold simply because he speaks out against these ideas. What's interesting is that a lot of these people don't seem to engage with his actual points or arguments.
They don't.
Just see that he challenges
His
certain
appearance they
progressive
target.
ideas and instantly label him as problematic or toxic. It's more about defending their own worldview than actually considering what he is saying. In reality, his views often seem more about calling out the extremes on both sides rather than attacking any one group. But of course, nuance doesn't always fit into the internet's outrage cycle. Now, I do want to add
never
a
will,
disclaimer that
dude.
I
It
don't
will never
always
will.
agree with everything Asmongold says or does. Politically and philosophically, we have quite a few differing perspectives, especially when it comes to some of our worldviews. But this in no way should ever be a reason for me to spread hate towards him. Because I sometimes disagree with him.
What are we,
he's
like
actually
fucking 12 years
encouraged
old?
me
Of
to
course
see
not, you know?
things from a different perspective, which I appreciate and has actually taught me a lot. It's natural for people to hate people. We're born with this instinct. I personally try not to hate anyone myself, but that's because I build my life on my Christian beliefs and worldview. And I also want to honor God with my life. But one thing I don't believe anyone should ever do is spread unnecessary hate towards anyone, especially if it has no substance. I am an advocate of holding individuals or corporations accountable for their actions or behaviors, if there is genuine warranted evidence to do so.
Wow. That was a really good video, my lord. There's a little bit left though.
Thank you everyone for watching my video, and thank you so much to my Patreons for all your
Yes,
support.
go follow him.
I might do a part 2 on this in the
Good
far
job,
future,
Patreons.
but I just
Salute
really want to
you.
get my thoughts out on here because
You
I've been
handsome
seeing
devil, you.
this conversation for a little too long without any level of critical thinking from a lot of people. And like I said, please can we not harass anyone? I do not want to spread hate.
Please don't,
that is
guys.
the complete opposite of what I'm trying
Harass
to do
me.
here. Let's all make this a beautiful place where we can all disagree healthily. If you completely disagree with any of my points, I would love to actually converse with you in the comments below. Let's keep it civil, obviously, but I really want to see some of your perspectives on any of these topics, and maybe we can all work together to better YouTube and better the internet in any shape or form.
Wow. Oh. That was crazy. Wow, what a great video. Again, go sub to this guy. This guy's awesome. It's called Pata. Again, sub to his Twitch, his Patreon. Go join him. In fact, I'm going to sub right now and give him a little like. Insightful stuff. It kind of goes beyond the surface level opinion. And generally, what comes down to it is that when you say your opinion and you believe it, people are going to discuss, people will talk about it, they'll diss on you. And if it goes against kind of the mainstream or what's kind of been trending on social media and whatnot for the past past half decade, if not full decade, a lot of like what he said, like DEI and all that stuff, you're going to get some pushback. And oftentimes when that type of community has a really big echo chamber, they tend to lash out pretty violently instead of entertaining the ideas that you're speaking on. Which, I'm sure if you've been on the internet for more than 5 seconds, you'll tell that anyone who disagrees with Asmongold often will target his like looks, his livelihood, his past, instead of listening to what he's speaking on and dive into what he's trying to convey and attack his actual like topics and what he believes in. Even then, like, I like that he's honest and stands on business. So yeah, without further ado, I'm down, boys. See you, boys. Peace.